So, for the second consecutive season, the Pens will not be in the playoffs. The playoffs are underway currently, and I honestly just wanted to wait a little bit before recording this video as I am recording this Friday night, but I wanted to come on here and just get all my thoughts out before I just kind of wrap up the season and talk about what this team is going to be going forward. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram. Link is down in the box below. 38 wins, 32 losses, 12 overtime losses for 88 points. That is what the Penguins tallied up for the 2023-24 NHL season, fifth in the Metropolitan Division, as the Washington Capitals beat us out for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. You know, I knew this team wasn't going to make the playoffs. I knew they weren't. You want to know why? Right after that Jake Gensel trade, that was it. And I know they had a nice little run to close out the season, going 8-2-5 or 8-2-3 rather in the last 13 games. And I know a lot of Pens fans are going to pin the blame on the Philadelphia Flyers for the other night for purposely losing that game to the Capitals in order for them to clinch the playoffs and eliminate us, Philly, and Detroit in the process. Well, I'm here to tell you this. First of all, Pens fans, do not let that honorless, classless, third-rate franchise in the Philadelphia Flyers let you think that they were the reason that the Pens missed the playoffs. Okay? This team was going to miss the playoffs regardless. And it's their own fault. Maybe if the Pens could, I don't know, not lose to the New Jersey Devils repeatedly, not lose to teams like Buffalo or Ottawa, or blow games against Columbus or Calgary, maybe the Pens wouldn't have been in that situation. In other words, the Pens did it to themselves all season. This was a very frustrating season that the Pens had, regardless of how they closed out the season. And I kept saying that Mike Sullivan, if the Pens failed to win a playoff series this season, considering that they got Erik Karlsson before the season began, I was going to officially get on board with saying fire Sullivan, and I'm there now. Sullivan needs to go, but he's not going to go because of his untouchable 3-year contract that he has. So that's number one. And number two, any Pens fan that's going to ask me, well, you were rooting for the Flyers the other night to get us in the play. I will shut that down immediately. Because let me tell you guys something, okay? I would rather stare directly into the total eclipse that happened a week and a half ago than root for the Flyers. I'd rather pay double my mortgage for the amount of time I have remaining in my condo than root for the Flyers. You get it. I would never root for that team, that disgraceful franchise, under any circumstance. So no, I was not rooting for them. I would rather have the Pens miss the playoffs altogether than root for Philly. They were not the reason this team missed the playoffs. The Pens were the reason that the Pens missed the playoffs because of the sloppy defense because they did something towards the end of the season that they should have done months ago, which was make Alex Nedeljkovic the goalie because Tristan Jarry is useless as the same time as this defense is inconsistent. And Kyle Dubas, let's be honest, guys, Kyle Dubas sucks. He's not a good GM. He's better than Ron Hextall, but he's not a good GM for this franchise. You want to know the main reason that he built the Toronto Maple Leafs into what they are right now? It's simple. Because in Toronto, he unloaded strong players and he combined that with speed. The Pens, I cannot stress this enough, need youth. This is the oldest team in the NHL. The average age on this team is almost 31 years old. In hockey sense, these guys are not kids. These guys are veterans who have been from team to team before they finally found a home in Pittsburgh. And you just can't win when you're playing soft. And that's why this offseason, because we don't have a high draft pick, because I mentioned that I want Mike Sullivan gone and he's not going to go, and we all know it, but Kyle Dubas needs to put the pressure on Mike Sullivan. He needs to make him feel uncomfortable, because if there's anything that needs to go with as far as the coaching staff goes, it's that Sullivan's assistants need to go. That needs to happen. Get him new guys that are not familiar with him and are going to push the buttons with him, and they're going to make Sully be like, well, this isn't what I used to have here, so I better apply myself a little bit better. And Dubas needs to sit down with Sully at some point and say to him that this is just not working out. You're on your last chance because you worked so well with your assistants and you worked so well with the core that you had for 9 seasons as head coach of this franchise. This is your last chance, Sully. If these assistants that I get for you don't pan out well with you, you're out of here. You get the idea. Put the pressure on him. Because let me tell you this, all right? When Mike Sullivan first came here, Sidney Crosby wasn't in his 30s. Evgeny Malkin wasn't in his 30s. We didn't have Jeff Carter, who retired the other night. We didn't have some of these young guys like Terry Gooseman, like Drew O'Connor, who's been a stud, or Emil Benstrom. I like those kids. Let's see what they have in the future. Sid played out of his mind to close out the season. 25 freaking points in 13 games. That's incredible. Evgeny Malkin playing at his peak, incredible. As a matter of fact, the core between Sid, Gino, and Letang, and Letang, I cannot stress enough, just needs to call it a career. But those three played all 82 games together for the first time that they've ever been a core together. And for what? For Sid to have statistically the best season that he's had in his career? And for Evgeny Malkin to turn the clock back to 2009 for this team to miss the playoffs? It wouldn't have been a waste if the defense just stood up, or if they didn't blow all these games left and right because of soft playing. It's just, it's frustrating, man. It really is frustrating. Because I know this team is better than this. They're better than to have to subject themselves to be in a predicament like this where they need to win and several other Christmas miracles to happen. That just seems to be the new standard with Pittsburgh sports now. We can't do it on our own. We need other teams to help us. Well, I won't tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. You can call that spoiled. You can call that being too harsh. Whatever. I don't give a crap. Because let me tell you this. People were begging me to make Pens videos down the stretch. And this is why I waited until now to make this video. Because I knew this team was not going to be in the playoffs just because they blew it too early. And they did this to us last season, and I fell for it. Where they had control of their own destiny, and they ended the season off by losing to two of the worst teams in the league. I refuse to be Charlie Brown running up to the football to kick it, only to have Lucy pull the ball back at the last second. I will not be fooled again. Plain and simple, period, point blank with this hockey team. Just like all my other teams. You fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, shame on me. Actually, no, you're not going to fool me twice because I learned my lesson after the first one. This is the 6th consecutive season that the Pens will not win a playoff series. And this is now, let's see. This is now the first time since at least 2004 and 2006 that the Pens will not be in the playoffs for consecutive seasons. The last time the Pens went at least 6 years without winning a playoff series, you got to go from 2002 to 2007. Pens did not win a playoff series in that time span. They made it in 07, but we got our clocks cleaned in the first round by Ottawa. And then after that, we had the back-to-back Cup appearances with winning it in 09. But the last time the Pens have gone consecutive seasons without making the playoffs was 2004 and 2006. This is why I'm saying Sully cannot work with these guys anymore. Sully cannot get the most out of the core anymore. And that's why he needs to be on the pressure, or he needs to be on the hot seat and have pressure being put on him. And that starts with the front office and Kyle Dubas. Do I trust that Dubas is going to make the right decisions this offseason? Absolutely not. I don't trust him. I don't think he's the GM of this franchise. But serious changes need to be happen for this team, for this franchise to go back to their glory, to where they were. And that's what frustrates me the most. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below about this season, and I'll see you next season. Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.